Thank you. Thank you very much. It's funny, the first time I came to this room, I was, in those days, working in Montreal, and I had the worst airplane experience from Montreal to New York that I ever had. I don't even remember what I had to say because my head was all shaken. Anyway, two things I want to tell you, two or three things. First, I'll be back after the screening to answer questions. Second is you will see in this movie a lot of animals, but of course they've been treated better than the two-legged actors that we had. All those wolves that you are going to see are now, they were lucky enough, they were born in China, but they got a Canadian passport. They are now in the mountain near Calgary with our remarkable trainer, Andrew Simpson. And everything you're going to see has been shot, I'm saying everything, 100%, in the extreme northern part of China, in Mongolia. The people you're going to see are all professional actors. The actors, the Mandarin actors, the Hans, were well-known actors when I picked them, and now they're extremely famous because we had an unexpected huge success in China with this movie. Another thing I want to say is I have been let entirely free to do the movie according to my heart, and this is something to note. It's a great privilege I had in China. So I'll be back, and I hope you have many questions for me. Thank you.
Well, congratulations on this big film.
Thank you very much.
I want to begin our conversation by talking about the main character, or rather the characters, the wolves. We saw in the ending credits that they have names. Who are they?
Well, they are important characters and they are individuals. The main character is played by who used to be the lead, the alpha male. His name is Cloudy. He lost his crown midway. His brother became the alpha male, but he remained the lead actor, and he kept his wife as well. Her name was Silver. And something quite exceptional happened is we developed a very special relationship with that with this actor, this four-legged actor. He came to me before we started the movie, when the first pack was almost adult. I visited the pack near Beijing, and he came to me and in a very respectful way, crawled and licked my feet. I was very impressed, and my crew believed that it's because I was the head of the two-legged crew that this wolf wanted to be showing his respect. My trainer said, no, it's something different. It just likes you. And the relationship went to something very special. When we were shooting, I could not start a day of shooting without a kissing session that lasted about 10 minutes. I never imagined that it was so intense for 10 minutes, but he would run to me, put his two legs on my shoulders, and would lick me and bite. He loved my left ear for some reason. And his intensity was almost frightening. At the end of the shoot, possibly because he heard that I was French, he reinvented the French kiss. And believe me, I didn't know that a wolf had such a long tongue. But it's strange, this relationship that we had. It was almost frightening because it was quite violent, and I had to get rid of my glasses. I could not wear anything with a pocket, and I didn't know if I was to stand because he was, pushing me a lot. But the trouble is, his wife, Silver, was getting impatient after 5 minutes. She would take my jeans and pull, and starting being nervous. So my trainer would say, "Okay, you two guys, you just go out." And by the way, my wife has been my continuity supervisor for the last 35 years, and she was convinced that Claudie was, in fact, the French name Claudie, which was a girl's name. And I explained to her that, no, it was a guy. But it was very strange. But, there was a lot of passion and a lot of friendship on this set. I got an absolutely wonderful relationship with my human actors, with my human crew. So there was something, maybe it has to do with Mongolia. Maybe it has to do with China, I don't know. But it's a country that is so much into spirituality. The minute you go into this beautiful landscape with the changing skies, the sound of the birds, all the time you've got birds flying everywhere, horses in the distance, sheep, and all this. It's very strange what it does on you, and I think something has to do with this. We were all, not only the wolves were impregnated, as they say, they were becoming familiar with men, but we were impregnated, I think, with Mongolia as well.
You didn't mention that you basically raised a pack of wolves.
We raised 3. We started this movie, I read the book in 2007, got involved in 2008, and here I am. And, it was a very long process. One of the reasons is I insisted to have wolves from Mongolia. They're very specific. As you've seen, they're different from Canadian wolves. Canadian wolves are gray, white, and black with blue eyes. Mongol wolves are the color of a lion with green eyes or hazelnut eyes. They're very ferocious. They're becoming extinct now. They almost don't exist anymore in China, although they're a protected species. But it's such a vast land that now the people who have a sheep or a herd of horses tend to kill them. They only remain now in the Republic of Mongolia, which is the former Soviet Union country. And there is a mountainous area where nobody can go because it's too steep. And there are still about 3,000 of them. Those wolves were all coming from Harbin. It's a city in the north in Manchuria. They have an important pack over there of 50 wolves, and there are too many. So we acquired the baby wolves when they were 4 weeks old. The first pack was acquired in 2009. My trainers decided to close their ranch in Canada and came to Beijing to live for 3 years. We trained 3 different generations in order to have adults, teenagers. Some of the wolves that you've seen here are 3 years old. The younger ones are 2 years old, and the babies that you've seen, we started with a group of 9. One was a better actor, and he turned white. So I couldn't believe, but then we had no chance to use any other wolves. So the little one you saw is called Siso, and did the whole movie, which was almost a problem for us because we couldn't shoot with this young animal more than 2-3 hours a day. Very much like with babies, You have to make sure that they're not tired. You also have to make sure that they like the experience. If they don't like it, they won't come the next day. They're very instinctive, so they have to perceive that shooting is a nice experience. And my trainer has been telling me something very sweet the other day. He said, well, you know, there is one thing, they seem to be waiting for the trucks. Each time they see a truck in the distance, because they live in a very remote place in Canada, each time they see a truck, they hope that it's a truck from the shooting, from the crew, because they're like any actor, you know, they like the set. And it's true, I could see that, because it was impressive for them to be the stars. And we were 600 people on the set, 600 people who had to stay absolutely still, and we would be waiting for the wolves to do their scene. And when they would do the scene, I would be the first to clap for my trainers, but also for the wolves. And I could see they're proud, you know. They like to, you know, like any actor, to come when the curtain opening and closing and bowing. It was quite charming, I must say.
I want you to talk about the specific horse chase scene. It's spectacular. It ends in this gruesome sight of horses frozen in the water. It's very complicated. There's a blizzard going on, and it's very dark. The animals are running in high speed, and you have takes from the sky, which I really like. Can you tell us what's involved in that, and how much computer-generated imagery was used?
None. Because the principle that I used was not to add things, but to remove things. Let me explain. That scene took us, it's a 7-minute scene. It took us 7 weeks to shoot. It took us 7 months to prepare. The reason is the thing I wanted to do was to have horses running together with wolves. But of course, wolves have only one idea in mind when they see a horse, is to jump on it. Horses have one thing in mind, is to kick the wolf. So we had to use the following device. We trained the horses to run between two very thin fences, painted in blue. When the horses were confident about this running, we did the same with the wolves between two other fences. And it took us months to do that, because we started daylight, and then we went into night for the training, then night with wind, and then night was snow on the ground, because it's different for the paws, you know, and it's also sliding. And then with the full thing, lights, wind, artificial snow in the face. And when we achieved that, we trained the wolves and the horses to do it together. But in order to make sure that no incident would happen, we would have trainers dressed up in blue on horses. For the horses, they had their own wranglers, and for the wolves, then in case a wolf would jump over the fence, we would just grab it and stop the fight. Fortunately, nothing like that happened. But when you see a wolf, you know, when you see the wolves running through the legs of a horse, with horse in the background, this is 3 layers, but there are real wolves at the same moment. And this is why you get the intensity in the eyes. So I have cameras on dolly machines, on cranes. I had 8 cameras for those scenes, with also long lenses in front. Therefore, it's matching, impeccable match in terms of expression. And also I have the expression from the horses that are very strong, because they hate the idea of being attacked by wolves. Now, you're mentioning aerial shots. I'm sorry, I have to stand in order to explain. I'm on a set now. those scenes have been done day for night because there's no sky. Therefore, we shot in a real blizzard separately with a herd of horses that was choreographed with horsemen in blue on the sides that I removed. And then when I got satisfaction with my horses, I shot from a crane, daytime, wolves choreographed the same way. And then in post-production, I put my wolves together with the horses. Why didn't I do with the fence? Because it was too large an area. It was on miles that I shot that scene. Therefore, I could not fence the whole place. Because everything you've seen has been made with real wolves. But of course, real wolves, we had to make very, very high fences, 15 feet high, and also in the ground 3 feet, because wolves are digging. And our fear was that wolves would escape, and they would immediately go to a herd of sheep and do a massacre, because they remain very, very wild animals and uncontrollable. And we had another problem, is the herdsmen in the area wanted to steal our wolves because they wanted to mate them with their female dogs in order to have more violent dogs. So, we had to protect our wolves. Now, when you see a wolf jumping on a horse, well, the camera is handheld at that point. It's a fake horse. It's a true wolf. And the wolf attacks the horse, the fake horse, because under the fake skin of the fake horse is a real beef steak. So they smell it, they go, "Wah!" And I have the camera here, and I move while my grips are moving the fake horse, And then the wolf is furious because it's moving. And of course, I have a great shot. It's a real wolf. It's a real acting. It's reality in a way, When I have the reverse, or when I have the horse going like this, it's only a horse, and his trainer is showing a stick, and the horse does this, and it's good close-up. Then, when a wolf is kicked, it's a fake leg of a fake horse, of course, and a puppet of wolf that is made with coyote skin, which is something you can buy officially, and has been made with great care in Paris. And we had 15 of those puppets with different expression. So expression of pain, like this. Okay, the one. Each scene had a different puppet. Now, when you see a wolf in pain, struggling to stand up, as a matter of fact, it's a wolf that adores the jam, the red jam, raspberry jam that we spread on water, on the snow, and we mixed with strawberry jam some pâté, and then the wolf goes, rubs itself, and I add a sound like it does the job, etc., etc. So it's and then, of course, when you see the horses frozen in the lake, that has been inspired by a French painter called Géricault. I gave it to my storyboard artist, and I had all of those expressions of frozen horse. By the way, it's a true story. It's something that happens. It's not only in Mongolia, but frequently in Siberia. Those things are happening. And what we did, we did sculpture, real size, half horses or just a head. I had 9 of them, but I displayed them. I had 9 original sculpture. Then I printed. I did a cast 3 times, so it gave me almost 20 horses. that we then had American specialists, hair specialists that flew from Los Angeles, spent about 4 months in Beijing, putting the hair, the eyes, and then we shot on the frozen lake. We displayed those horses and spent a whole night when it was minus 35 or something like that, with little water bottles to have the icicles. And fortunately enough, we had a little wind the day we shot. It was a very, very, very cold day, so minus 40, I think. And, you know, it's all the charm of making a movie. But of course, it takes time. Those horses took about a year to be made. Of course, we could have done it possibly a little quicker, but as we had to train our wolves, there was no way we could have grown-up wolves quicker than waiting for 3 years. And the shoot itself, I started in July 2012 and finished in December 2013. We had to stop for sometimes 2 weeks because we had to wait for the little wolf to get bigger. And all the wolves in the world are born at the end of March, so we had to calibrate our schedule according to the growth of the little puppy. And it's the same one. For the reason I told you, one morning I saw a little wolf coming out of his hole. It was a white one. I said, "What's this wolf?" They said, "He's turning white." And he did the whole show. And he got very, very close to my actor. My actor invited him in his room. It was a very smelly room after a while, but they were sleeping together. I mean, you know, you cannot make it work without some kind of reality in the relationship.
I'm going to ask one more question, and then you're going to have your chance to ask questions. Before we watched the film, you mentioned during the introduction that you had complete freedom to make this film, which is something I really want to understand. This film...
Me too.
The original novel is considered by many people to be political because it deals with issues concerning the environment, modernization, minorities in China, and your earlier film, 7 Years in Tibet, was banned in China. The fact that they went to you to invite you to make these films incredible and then to give you all the freedom to do whatever you wanted was interesting. And I still find it very unthinkable to convey the message without freedom, one would rather die.
Well, you know, the movie you've seen is exactly the one that has been shown in the rest of the world, including China. I was asked to do 2 modifications, and here they are. At one point, when they are the two, the male and the female protagonists, they're talking about unite the nation, and apparently I'd used the wrong word in Chinese. It was more the people or the country, I don't remember. And there is a scene where one of the actors having a charming moment with a young girl among the sheep. And I received from the film bureau, the censorship board, they said, you know, do as you want, but our Chinese audiences are very shy, and there is a brief moment where you see the top of the breast of this actress. Do you have another take? I said, do I see the breast? I never paid attention myself. And I was so impressed that you know, I've done a few movies in America. I have Final Cut, but you get what I would call friendly pressure. Even if you say no, you still have to discuss. Here, I was given so much freedom, and you know, of course, those two modifications I didn't even care, because I had another take where the girl was doing exactly the same thing, but I didn't see the breast, and everybody was happy with this. So I think I've been very, very privileged. One of the reasons I see Chinese friends here, my movies, since a movie that I did called Quest for Fire, have been mandatory viewings in the film academies and in universities in China, so it helped. Apparently it helped. People over there have seen my movies, and it's also a very, China is like Russia or France, a very filmmaker-orientated country. They do have a sort of great respect for directors, which is something I didn't know, but I could see by myself that I was given so much freedom. Basically, you know, when those people came to see me in Paris, I said maybe I'm not the right person because I did a movie that insulted the people, and I'm sorry. They said, no, China has changed, and we're practical people. We're very pragmatic. We don't know how to do the movies you're doing, so we need you. And it was so simple that I trusted them. And frankly, it has been a love affair, this movie. I've been left alone. Even when we did the music, you know, with James Horner, who unfortunately had an accident in his plane, and he's not with us anymore. James, we were in London with this big orchestra, the London Symphony, and he said, Jean-Jacques, I don't understand, where are the studio people? And I said, James, there's no studio people. He said, but your producers, where are they? I said, they love your music, they trust us, we do what we want, and we did what we want. As I did the editing, as I did the screenplay. You know, there's strong modifications between the screenplay and the book. Here again, I was given freedom, even by the writer, by Zhang Rong, who ultimately said, okay, this is my book, this is your film. And I said, Zhang, I want the people to enjoy this because it's a tribute to your beautiful book. And so from him as well, I got a lot of freedom. It was an incredible experience.
Questions? We have 2 mics from the aisles. Please use the mics.
Yeah, please. You know, there is no bad bad question. Yes.
Oh.
Thank you.
Please use the mic.
Maybe, yes, a microphone, a 2-legged microphone coming.
You said that when the wolf would come up to you, the lead wolf, and he would nibble at your ears, you would take your glasses off and you couldn't wear anything with a pocket. Why not something with a pocket?
Because he was so active that he was going like this, and he would tear my pocket off. And this, it'd be a ruin. So I had to wear a special jacket, like a raincoat, to go through that love session. Yes. Microphone? Yes.
I was actually very impressed about the actress. I know she's from Mongolia, and yeah, I heard some anecdotes about like things because I have a friend who actually the translator.
Yeah. Who was her? Who was he or she?
She.
Was she the woman was translated from Mongol to Chinese?
English.
To Mongol to English? Yes, I know her very well. She's yes, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, my friend was there. Like she was like mentioning a little bit about like how you chose the Mongolian actress. Can you like elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, from among the very natural, not pressure, but suggestion I had from my producer was to use famous Chinese actors who were all willing to do this film. But I said, no, I am showing Mongolia, and we're trying to get the spirit of Mongolia and the spirit of wolves. I cannot shoot with dogs, and I cannot shoot with actors who are Huns. I want people who understand deeply in themselves Mongol culture. But of course, there are not so many Mongol actors and actresses. But as I did a lot of scouting, I did about 40,000 kilometers, is about 30,000 miles of scouting in Mongolia. Each dinner, I would see the actors of this village or of this little town. So I met a lot of singers, a lot of stuntmen. They were just all adorable. And then I established a sort of friendly relationship. The only person I couldn't find in Inner Mongolia was the leading actress. I found her in Ulaanbaatar. Her name is Ankanim, and she became now very famous in Ulaanbaatar. I went to Ulaanbaatar recently, so I don't know if you're from Mongolia, the Republic of Mongolia, or from Inner Mongolia. Are you from Inner Mongolia?
Yeah, I grew up in Inner Mongolia.
From where?
Inner Mongolia.
Yes, and which city? Oh, hot. Yeah, of course.
I went to Ulaanbaatar. There are a lot of relatives there.
Yeah. Well, so it's part of my job is to pick the right actors. So I think by now I know most of the actors in Mongolia, and even the small parts are all by professional Mongol actors. And as you know, Mongol actors here in America, when actors are not working, they own a bar or they drive a limousine. Or in Mongolia, when they have been between two movies, they go back to the yurt. And so they're really people from the land. And I had Mongol consultant around me, but it was easy because the actors themselves were from Mongolia. So they have done those things that you see. Like, one of the touching scenes is towards the end, the chasing of the wolf. At the end of the first day of shooting, I saw the driver of one of the jeep is crying. So I'm saying, what's wrong? I was sorry for him. I thought something went wrong on the shoot. He said, no, but for so many years when I was in the army, I've been doing this thing, exhausting wolves. And I realize now how terrible were those things, and that's just a detail. But we had endless conversation about where the door of the yurt should be, because some tribes in the Mongol culture put their door towards the north. Some others where the wind is blowing, where against the wind. Endless conversation, but it was very interesting for all of us to learn more about the beautiful Mongol culture. Yes?
At some point in this project, I think you were asked to or required to write a sort of note of apology over 7 years in Tibet, sort of saying that you had no political interest. Could you explain how that came about? Why was that necessary?
Say that again. I didn't quite get your question.
You, I believe, were asked to write a note that was published on the Chinese internet. That has been described as an apology for 7 years in Tibet. Can you sort of say, in your version, what happened?
I'll tell you. At some point, when I was in pre-production, I was still writing the screenplay, and there was in the internet, Chinese internet, a sort of controversy about, I was it was said that I was very intimate with the Dalai Lama and that I was supporting of independence of Tibet, which I am not. And I did write that. I must insist on the point that the Dalai Lama is not in favor of the independence of Tibet. So today I can say that, Tibet cannot survive without being either with China or with India. So I think it's irreversible, and there are battles that cannot be won. That's my point of view.
Who asked you to write that letter?
No one important, really. It was just to stop this silly thing, which was untrue and was going against the work. I felt it was very bad for the project. It also was attacking Jiang Rong. And by the way, I never got in trouble. One of the reasons I was given so much freedom is everybody in China understood that I liked the Chinese minorities, that I have great respect for Chinese minorities. That includes the Tibetans, that includes the Mongols, that includes the other 56 minorities. I think loving Tibetans is not contradictory with loving China. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. There's a scene that struck me where a wolf jumps off a cliff.
Yes.
Is that true to nature?
Let me explain. Thank you very much for asking this question. Tibetans have seen this scene. It's a scene that is described in the novel, and there are two interpretations. The Tibetan interpretation is that wolves have so much dignity that they refuse to be skinned because they don't want to be presented to God without their fur coat. Therefore, they prefer to decide for their death. I insist, this is what the Mongols believe. When I shot that scene, every Mongol on the set was saying, this is true. Now, the other explanation is more pragmatic. It's when you have no choice. Like on September 11 here in this city, when people jumped out of the window. Was it a suicide, or was it the hope that something miraculous was going to happen? When you're certain you're going to die for sure, maybe there is a little hope in jumping and try to survive. Same explanation for the other wolves that is digging. Of course, this wolf doesn't know that the little hole is going to collapse. But it's a survival instinct. So I insisted in the press kit. I don't know if the English version, I had no time to read it. It just arrived yesterday. They mentioned that, but we, in the French and the European press kit, we have a debate of ethologists on this aspect. And of course, suicide is not something known and accepted by biologists. But once again, we are here giving the image, and the interpretation is dual.
Was that scene in particular included in the Chinese version?
Everything you've seen is in the Chinese version. This is the same film. There's no difference. Including the end titles. It's very long because you have all the drivers and all this. This is the Chinese version. The European version is shorter for the titles are 2 minutes shorter. This is the only difference.
Maybe one last question? One last
Whatever.
You pick. You pick the audience.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I just wanted to...
Just wait for the microphone.
Mark Rowlands, who was a philosophy teacher who wrote the book The Philosopher and the Wolf and taught with a wolf sitting at his desk, says that the unique aspect of one of the unique aspects of humans is that we're descended from monkeys, and we have a deceptive aspect of our personalities, which wolves do not have. Whatever, they can be violent, but they have a spontaneity and a joie de vivre that makes them very different in terms of the way they approach and enjoy life. Would you have any feelings on that in terms of the just as a characteristics of them? Yeah.
Well,
lovable, violent, yes, sometimes, but sort of almost lovable at the same time, because they have a tremendous sense of just embodying life as they go through it.
Well, you know what I noticed, which was a big surprise for me, is the social life of wolves. How it's a clan with two wolves that are the top of the clan. It's very politically incorrect. It's violent. It's a democracy that votes for a dictator. Why a democracy? Because when they're fed up with their leading male, they just kill it, or break his leg, or cut his leg. Now, what I've seen is almost a caricature of the human world. Everybody sort of physically licks the ass of the king. Physically. They go until the day you see their eyes. They don't like their king anymore. And then they decide for another dictator. The dictator is the only one who can breed, who can mate. He has the queen. And in my pack, there were 2 female wolves that I could never use because they wanted to kill the queen. So, but you know, you read that in novels about the Borgias. But here you've got a pack of wolves and it is the same behavior. And you can see the structure. You can see the one that are in favor and the one who are not. And those who are not, in the old days, became the allies of the other gangs, which were the humans. Those wolves decided to become dogs, therefore slaves of men, because they were rejected from their pack. It's an extremely violent world. But it's also a world where you can see that wolves, they want a chief, they want a boss, but they want a boss that makes good decisions. And they follow it until the day they kill it. And they know that if they are not united, they're going to lose. They're not going to eat. They're going to die. So this is really what I learned. Now, I saw great affection. I saw also, when my friend Claudy lost his role, he decided to leave his position to his brother. But his wife remained trustful, and she stayed with him. I was told that in many packs, the female goes with the leader, whatever the leader is. This one stayed, and they were very affectionate, the two of them. They were always sleeping together, their nose close to each other. It's also the affection the female has for the little ones is spectacular. So it's, should I say, human nature without a costume, without pretending to be, without the politically correct language. It's raw material. But when you see a pack of wolves, you understand a lot about politics.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very kind.